Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Coach Krisler's Convos. This is a special episode because I am joined by Dr. Vidhya Udare. So welcome, Dr. Udare. I'm so glad to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much, Krisler. I'm so happy to be here and thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Well, let's dive right in. So for those that don't know who you are, tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
So I'm Vidhya Udare. I graduated with a medical degree that was about 26 years ago, specializing in homeopathy. And currently I'm in New Jersey and I'm practicing holistic integrative medicine, which is a combination, a synergy of functional medicine, homeopathy, and yoga. I call it the three pillars, the strong three pillars of my practice.
That's awesome. And so I love that you are bringing all of these things together to really provide a whole system kind of approach to serving your patients. So tell us a little bit about your medical training. What's your background in that?
So I joined the medical school, specializing in homeopathy. As a child, I was always intrigued by homeopathy, I was introduced to homeopathy by my father, and always grew up taking homeopathy for any ailments, be it my menstrual cramps, my writing cramps, or sleepless nights during school, and any of the cold, cough, anything that I was I was a very healthy child, but still, if you would have anything, I would be taking homeopathic remedies.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how I was very much curious to learn more about homeopathy. And when I decided to become a physician, I chose to take homeopathy as a specialization. And that is how my journey started as a homeopath in India 26 years ago. I practiced in India with homeopathy for 14 years before I moved to US. And during that period, I saw a lot of chronic cases, asthma, allergies, especially 60% of my practice was pediatric practice. So it was amazing to see how the kids have been suffering for such a long time. And I was blessed to have a nice rapport with the conventional medicine practitioners who would refer them to me, and saw great success with all the kids with skin issues, asthma, allergies, gastrointestinal disorders, especially even adults. And I started to see more of those thyroid cases and women's health, infertility, and all of those intrigued me as to why they were suffering through this chronicity or the chronic illness, the stealth chronic infection that we call them. When I came to US, that is how my curiosity into nutrition and understanding what's going on wrong leading to these chronic cases led me to functional medicine. And I really feel blessed that I could do the master's in functional medicine and become a board certified functional nutritionist and a board certified classical homeopath in US. So I merged my practice, my experience of the 14 years long experience of homeopathy with functional medicine, trying to understand why, how, and beyond what is there beyond physical symptoms. So I would love to talk a little bit about homeopathy because not many people are familiar with what homeopathy is. And they do not know.
It's funny because I think there is a lot of maybe misconception about homeopathy, as well as a lot of stereotypes about caregivers or medical practitioners that use homeopathic remedies. I think a lot of people think it's very woo-woo and kind of weird and out there, and you're just kind of dabbling and throwing things at people. But it has a very, very long history over a wide range of cultures that have used these various methods. So yeah, I would love to hear a little bit about that, and maybe educate the listeners on what these homeopathic remedies are.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. I'm a big proponent of homeopathy because that is the most safer way of science of medicine, which you can definitely take hand in hand along with the conventional medicine. And it has the scope of homeopathy is not just limited to, people are very much familiar with arnica, calendula, and the over the top, over the counter, the remedies that are available, or maybe cold and cough or something like that. And when people go reach homeopathy is just for that sake and not beyond that. So I want to really help people to understand that homeopathy is a very old science system of medicine, which has been existing for more than 250 years. The philosophy of homeopathy, the science of homeopathy, or the fundamentals of homeopathy are very, very unique because it is related to the enhancing the immune system, the defense mechanism of the person, because each and every individual has an innate ability to develop their own immune system or strengthen their own immune system. So homeopathy just does that. The core understanding of homeopathy is that to work on the vital force, and if any person is coming up with any kind of a health issue or a health condition, homeopathy teaches us to look into why they are in this situation. So it means that the vital force, the vital energy, which is the most important energy that animates the person, the human body, is something which has deviated from the normal homeostatic function. So that is what homeopathy does through its the remedies, which are very, very uniquely prepared. It brings that balance back, the homeostasis back. And I would like to tell about the homeopathic remedies is that homeopathic remedies are made from plants, minerals, animal, and all other different sources. But the beauty of the homeopathy is that it is we call it the law of homeopathy. As similia similibus curantur, means like cures like. So when a person comes to me with a set of symptoms, not the diagnosis, we're not looking at the diagnosis. For example, if it's coming to me for asthma, there could be 10 people with asthma, but every person will have his own unique presentation of symptoms of asthma. One person might say that, okay, I'm coughing, I'm really breathless, but I feel better when I'm lying down. The other person might say, oh no, I cannot just lie down. I feel suffocated. I have to sit up. I have to bend forward. That is my relief position. Or if I go out in the cold weather, I feel better. If I'm in the warm room, I'm suffocated. These are the different ways and the patients from suffering from asthma could be presenting. So this is the uniqueness, the individualism that homeopathy looks at. And when we select these remedies carefully, we take each and every the individualistic, the particular the symptoms of the person, not only just at the physical level, but also at the emotional level. What is his presentation like? How is he presenting? Is he very calm? Is he very anxious? Is he very if there is a lot of anxiety with him? So everything that is this uniqueness, this picture is his individual picture. Now we try to match the symptoms of this person with the symptoms of the remedy, which is the most simillimum for him. And that is how the fundamentals or the law of homeopathy is like cures life. Like means that any substance in the universe which has the ability to create a set of symptoms has the ability to cure those set of symptoms. So if you see those symptoms in a healthy person and you use the same symptoms in the diseased person or the sick person, you will see that the person will recover sooner. So this is the most, it's so amazing. It's like an energy that homeopathic medicines have, and it matches with the energy of that person, where that person is. And that is how that healing starts to take place. And it is just not because of the substance. And homeopathic remedies are prepared in a way that these remedies do not have the any trace of that substance, but it is potentized and potentized and potentized, thus leading to the energy of that substance, which helps the person to heal. So
So
this
it's
is
put in it's in its most potent form that
absolutely,
allows for that healing to happen.
absolutely. So
That's awesome. It sounds I mean, it definitely aligns with functional medicine in the sense that both of them really are seeking out an individual, um, uh,
approach.
they're investigating the individual and they're looking for an individual remedy for, like you said, two people could have the same even diagnosis, but the question becomes, what is the root of that issue? They could be presenting differently. Their symptoms are different, how they feel or where they feel these issues, or maybe even what's triggering their issue might be different. And so investigating that, looking deep into what's really going on, allows for you to kind of cater that treatment towards the individual. Very different than conventional medicine that gives you just kind of the same set of medications to say, okay, this person has this issue. These are the medications that you give them at these doses, and here you go, and good luck to you, right?
Absolutely. No, and you
Yeah.
brought up a very good point where you spoke about the trigger, right? So many a times we look at the physical aspect of the issues or the health conditions, but not
Mhm.
the emotional aspect of it. So
Mm.
homeopathy has an edge over this because it helps us understand the person not at the physical level, but also at the mental, emotional, and the spiritual level.
Mhm.
So let me give you an example of recently I had a case of IBS where the person has been suffering for, she came to me after she's been for 2 decades. She was suffering from IBS and she was at a point where she could tolerate only 4 foods when she came to me, and she said that I've been to all the practitioners and I have been to dietitians, I've been to so many other holistic practitioners, but none have been. And she was like at a point like she has said, will you be able to help me? I said, I will try my best. Definitely we have worked with so many IBS patients, but
Right.
not every IBS person is the same, right?
Right.
Again, functional medicine has the same concept: root cause analysis, understanding the person, looking at the whole person, the whole symptoms, not just the diagnosis. So
Right.
this is the beauty of homeopathy and functional medicine, where they have the same alignment or the same fundamentals. So when this patient came to me and so we started working, and as usual, the functional medicine, I did some of her tests, and also from a homeopathic aspect, I took a very in-depth case taking where we include the emotional and the mental aspects. What was the trigger? What was going on? Going back, right? We take steps back. We go back
Mhm.
trying to connect the dots. So trying to understand what happened 2 decades ago and not just looking at the current situation. So, and when I started to dig deeper and I really understood that there was some emotional concept or some emotional events in her life that were really, really having a key impact on her health. So how the emotional and the physical connection is not different, but they are so very interlinked, right? We looked into this closeness, the close impact of the emotions on the physical health. Like any
Mhm.
emotional issues will be lodged into the issues and tissues. It's such an important connection.
Yes.
And so I spoke to her for for the second follow up when she came. She was like, oh, my headache have completely gone. I have no pain in during my menstrual cycle. I was
Mhm.
like, when did you mention this? She was like, oh, I have been suffering it since my childhood. I didn't know it exists, right? It's so
Right.
common,
Right.
right? People just take it to be normal. If it is common, then it is normal, right?
Right.
Everybody doesn't,
Right.
they learn to live with it, get adapted to it. And they say,
Yeah.
excellent. But what about your IBS symptoms? She was like, I am still not there as much as, and I was like, okay, what's going on wrong here? Like, we're doing everything. And her headaches have gone, her menstrual cramps have gone, but still her IBS is there. And
Mhm.
when I asked her, what's going on while you're eating and how you are eating, what is the environment while you're eating. And that is when she opened up and she started to tell everything, what she's doing at that moment, how she is eating. And definitely that led to how her autonomic nervous system was totally messed up, and
Yeah.
trying to understand her emotions coming up at that time, how she was dealing with those emotions. And definitely, we see this beautiful connection of how the sympathetic drive can suppress your digestion and lead to these, cascade of events leading to IBS, right?
Yeah.
This was so
Yeah,
amazing.
that is so amazing, because when you think about American lifestyle, it's very busy, it's very hectic. Everybody's, stressed. You ask people how they're doing, oh, I'm so stressed, or I'm so busy. And when people realize how that is affecting them in a variety of ways, maybe it's IBS, maybe it's something else, but just having those very simple actions, that awareness, and then the action based on that awareness to maybe sit down while you're eating, right? People are standing up, or taking some deep breaths, or saying a prayer, or giving thanks before you eat, and kind of switch your body's mode to be in that rest and digest um state.
Yeah.
It changes so many things, and once you implement that and remain consistent over time, you might not see that change in a few days, or maybe even a few weeks, but you stay consistent, and you do that. It it can have a huge effect on people. And something else you said that I thought was really interesting was that this person came to you for IBS,
Mm-hmm.
but what they realized was that other things improved as they're working on these IBS symptoms. So, I think you hit it on the head when you said there are so many things that are common. They're not normal, but yet we just think, well, I'm a mom, so I'm just going to be tired, or, I have a stressful job, so that's just the way it is. And it's like, no, it does not have to be that way. You can live and thrive, don't have to be on survival mode all the time. And so, how wonderful for this patient of yours that realized, oh wow, my whole body, is starting to experience improvement, not just with these IBS symptoms.
Absolutely. That was such a wonderful experience for her, where she had never experienced this kind of a change in her. And she later on, she started to speak about how about her blood sugar imbalances, her medication for diabetes, psoriasis. She completely healed with psoriasis. And there have been so many of these patients or clients that we have worked with and experienced. And I will definitely I can say about my own story, my own health journey, where I was able to restore my thyroid health,
Mm,
overcome the Lyme arthritis, and definitely, and here having this beautiful understanding of the holistic and the integrity of the other symptoms, not working independently but working together, where we as practitioner also sometimes we forget, like we are under so much stress and how of the stress impacts our own health. And this
yeah.
is where, when in my 40s, late 40s, I was diagnosed with hyperthyroidism. And post hyperthyroidism, I became hypothyroidism because I had to take those medications
Hmm.
for a while, for just maybe, I think, a month. And where, along with that, I was doing homeopathy. I was understanding that I was that stress that was impacting my health. And that was a beautiful awakening call for me to having all of that information. But still, sometimes we have also been given away for to this stress, and it can have a very big impact on so many ways. And we only talk about the HPA axis, but we forget about how our thyroid stress, how our gut, adrenals, everything is interlinked, everything works in harmony. And when
Hmm.
this harmony is definitely lost, our thyroid, our all this, the gut, everything start to speak in terms of symptoms. And that was my point when I realized that what I was doing my master's program. I was doing so many different things, and definitely I took a hit there. But yes, absolutely thankful, so thankful to have homeopathy and functional medicine by my side, that I could restore my thyroid health, get off the medications. And when I was diagnosed with Lyme arthritis post-COVID, it was like 2020 and 2021, I was
Mhm.
like suffered from Lyme arthritis. And that is how I realized, because I was here and there were other things back in India that was affecting me. So many people were suffering with COVID, my family members. Yes, unknowingly, subconsciously, somewhere that stress had triggered my vulnerability in my body.
Yeah.
So having that experience, I definitely was so blessed to have overcome the Lyme arthritis beautifully with homeopathy and functional medicine. So this is my journey too, which I would definitely love to share. The
Yeah, that
connection.
is phenomenal. Again, there's such a focus on stress, and that it's just a thing, which it is. Stressors come in and out of our lives all the time. But when our body responds poorly to that, right? Or when we are in a constant state of stress and we are not finding ways to, cope with it and manage it and, release that, then it stays stored up in us. And once it gets to a point where it's like our body just cannot take anymore, that's when we start to really experience those negative outcomes. And it sounds like between your situation with your education, and of course that's a great thing, learning more, but that's a stressor, right? Going through COVID and having family members who are dealing with that, and so certain, so forth, that also stressor. So how did you discover that it was your thyroid, and you were having issues with that? How did you discover that?
So first, I started to develop these hyperthyroidism symptoms like palpitation. That was my most important one.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, I started to experience palpitation, and I was losing weight, and that is something triggered. And because I understand that the being a medical doctor, I was knew that something was wrong with my thyroid. So I got the test done, but I was so my doctor said that no, you have to take the radiotherapy. I said no, I'm not going to take that, because I know with homeopathy I can help myself.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely I understood that there is something else going on which is triggering. It could be a virus, it could be anything, but the doctor said that okay, this is how it is. We don't look at all of that, we just look at the TSH. And
Hmm.
I said, fine. I had to comply with him, because if I have to get the test done, I have to go to a doctor. I have to see them and hear to what their opinions are, which I appreciate. But to some extent, I feel that that is not enough. We need to take a step further to know
Mm-hmm.
why my thyroid gave up at that time, why my thyroid was vulnerable. And having an understanding of homeopathy, it helps me look into my own health at the not only just the physical level about looking at the palpitation and the losing weight, but emotionally too, what was going on wrong with my, so I was able to work. So being a homeopath and having another homeopathic mentor and senior, so was able to work with them and get through this. And later on, as I started with the functional medicine, it was so beautiful to see this, dig deeper, the connection between the thyroid, the adrenals, how the cortisols can have a big impact on your thyroid, because cortisol is like I can say the accelerator, the gas that we keep on pushing, pushing, pushing. And
Mm-hmm.
thyroid is like the balancing, is like the thermostat, which tries to balance whenever we are trying to overdo anything. So I always say that it is like the wheel of a car. One hand is thyroid and the other hand is the adrenal or the cortisol. And if one starts to pull, you know then your car is going to definitely deviate to in the other opposite direction, not go straight, right? And
Mhm.
that is where all that difficulty arises. So I really functional medicine helped me dig deeper, and that is where I started to look into more into how to balance. And at the same time, I became a certified yoga therapist too, and having all these three, beautiful tools. uh, it was so amazing to understand how to balance my stress, how to bring that balance between the cortisol and the thyroid so that we
Mhm.
can work harmoniously. And one more thing I want to bring up is what happens when we are working with conventional medicine practitioners is that they just look at the TSH. They just look at, where is our TSH right now? High. Okay,
Right.
put you on, thyroid medications, and they do not look at the how our free T3 and the free T4, that which are the most bioactive and the bioavailable ones are. And there is one more component which we call as the reverse T3, which tells us a lot of things about many other different systems going on wrong. And you can connect to what is going on. Is there any inflammation? Is there any infection in the gut? If there is, how's your immunity functioning? How's your adrenals functioning? So we look into all of these aspects, and that is where I was finding it difficult to talk to the physician, where I was trying to explain him that please look into these aspects, where I want
Mhm.
to know if it is my thyroid or something else playing, whether it is an immune function or whether it is the adrenal, because what is leading to, what is stressing out my thyroid, right? So this is
Yeah.
how I feel that functional medicine has so much to offer. And homeopathy, on the other hand, helps to understand the person, to look into deeper the emotional events that the person has gone throughout their life, or maybe through conception, or the trigger that led to that imbalance, or to that falling prey to that period of time. So having all of these understandings, we can look at a person as a whole and help them holistically, not just with that one concept of, okay, you are having a thyroid issue, just work on that thyroid issue. No, at that
Yeah.
moment,
Yeah,
yeah,
the thyroid is not separate from the rest of the body. It is intertwined, right? It's part of the system. And it's so interesting that we have in conventional medicine, we've dissected everything. And, certainly there is need for specialists to have an understanding of certain areas, more in depth. However, having said that, there's still those organs, your gut, all those things are still a part of one whole system. One person that has a history, that is dealing with things currently. And it's such an important part of how functional medicine works, and obviously how homeopathy works, with really making sure that the whole system is working properly, that things are understanding that the body, these different parts are interdependent with one another. And so when something's happening over here, in your kidneys, it's going to show up, in another part of your body, or when your insulin levels are not correct, or whatever it is. It's just really important. This is a really important reminder for everybody that you are one whole system, one body. Don't let people dissect you down to one thing,
absolutely.
because that could it could be addressed,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
But it not really puts you in a back to a harmonious state, where you
absolutely.
are really, your body is really functioning properly, and you're feeling good, and all those types of things. So um,
Absolutely.
it- and something else you said that stuck out to me was that you have somebody that you can go to, a mentor in homeopathy, and you were able to kind of step away from the conventional and say, okay, there's other things I know. Let me go to this person. Let me ask. Let me get some different tests, and do those types of things. And I really want to encourage people who are listening to seek out help outside of just one response. You don't have to just go to one doctor, get one response, and then follow one, treatment path. There are so many different treatment paths. Find, a trained homeopathic doctor, find a trained functional medicine doctor, find a trained certified health coach, find
Yes.
somebody who really is going to help you think through what's going on. They're going to listen to all the questions that you have. They're going to go through your history and really dig in and give you that support and help you advocate for yourself. Because, it sounds like that's what you had, even when you did go to a conventional medicine doctor, you had this other person.
Yeah, absolutely. It is so important to have a team. And being a physician myself, or being a practitioner myself, I didn't want to treat myself. I wanted somebody else to listen to me and understand me, what was going on wrong for me at the emotional level. And that is the beauty of homeopathy. You need to have somebody you can be accountable to, who can listen to you. And similarly, that is what I do with my clients. Listening to them is so important. Listening to what they have to say, what is what they are experiencing. Most of the time that goes unheard, and the person feels that, no, I haven't been listened to, I have been heard to. They want to just speak out there, what all is happening to them. It's not just about their thyroid, or if your thyroid, your lab reports might be normal, but still you're not feeling good. You are having the same thing happened to me. My lab report, my lab work, thyroid lab work was normal, but still I was not feeling better. I was not feeling my normal. And whenever I would, approach my physician to get some more tests done, because I was still having some anxiety, I was not sleeping well, I was waking up early. I really felt that this was more of an hormonal, the balance, the homeostasis of my hormones was not there. And I wanted some tests to be done to look further beyond a thyroid, what was going on. And the doctor was like, okay, this has nothing to do with thyroid. Please see a psychiatrist. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is not what I came to here. And I really feel for my clients if they come to me and then when they see that, okay, everything is normal, but still I'm not feeling well. I'm not able to digest the food that I was eating before. Even the same food that I would love, enjoyed, and had with the healthy food. Now I'm not able to eat that. I'm not able to eat the greens. I'm not able to eat fruits, or I'm not able to sleep well. I'm not feeling I'm not having the same energy to do what I would love to. They're not able to play with their kids. So this is where it tells that, okay, there is something more that we need to look into, and not just say that this is all in your head, or go and see a psychiatrist. That is where I feel that that is where we are lacking, and that is needs to be approached in a very proper fashion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. And you brought up other things like energy and sleep, and all of those things are very important to look into and to make sure that they are optimal. So yeah, what a great conversation this has been. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing about your personal health, but also your medical training. And just, I can tell that you are passionate about this. You just glow and smile when you talk about it. So that's awesome.
Thank you so
If
much.
people want to connect with you, or they want to look you up or look up your practice, where can they go to find you?
So my practice name is Life Force Nourished, and they can find me on www.lifeforcenourished.com, and they will find a lot of information there, and also share success stories of clients. There are videos, there are many informations that I talk to them, try to make them understand. And they can reach out to me from via my website. They can always book a free 15-minute introductory call, and they can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. So that is also available, and all that information is there on my website. So yeah, absolutely. But also before we end up, I want to say that thank you, Krisler. I know that you are equally passionate and about what you do. And I love the way you help women and everybody help reach their health goals through your health coaching. And I really appreciate that a lot.
Thank you so much. And I will make sure to put your information in the notes under this episode so people can find you. And I really enjoyed our conversation, and I look forward to having more conversations with you. So until next time, bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.